some daylight.
Welcome back. Right off at the top of the show, we didn't mention this pregame, but we're gonna go. We did mention this part, but we're gonna go a little bit light on baseball this week because it's kind of outside of a few things that like it's kind of holding like in the holding pattern. Like some of the hotter teams are cooling off, some of the cooler teams are heating up, and by the end of the weekend, I think like going into September is going to be just what you want for down the stretch. It's going to be exciting, but hats off to Big Dumper. Cal Raleigh is just breaking records left and right. Jacob Lopez helped the fella out, pitched while probably was hurt before the game, pitched just so he could serve up 2 to Big Dumper to give him number 48 and 49, tied the record, and then he hit 50 the next day.
He just hit. Oh yeah, that's right. He's 50.
Yeah,
I'm a month behind. I thought you just hit 40. No, he just hit 50.
Yeah, so yeah, Lopez gave up number 48 to tie the home run record for a catcher, and number 49 to break it. And then former Sacramento Athletic JP Sears the next night gave up number 50 for him. First catcher ever to hit 50 home runs in a season. Big tip of the cap. I got nothing. I really got nothing against the Mariners. I've always kind of liked the Mariners because of Griffey. I really like Cal Raleigh, and I hope he goes for the record. I hope he goes for 63.
I think he will.
He's got a chance. Like he's gonna have to stay hot, but he's got a chance. So tip of the cap, and but let's get into college football. Week 0 is already come and gone. Iowa State and K-State duking it out in Dublin, Ireland. I didn't watch any of the game. I heard it was pretty sloppy conditions.
It was sloppy, and K-State started out really hot. They had like a 75% chance to win that game. They blew it.
Okay.
Pissed off a lot of folks.
K-State has seemed to do that over the past several years.
Yeah, they kind of been choking, especially against a team like Iowa State, who they honestly like. This is a game that may keep them out of the playoff.
You know,
not like for strength of schedule wise, but if they lose this game and they lose 2 more, they're out of there.
See, like in the Bill Snyder era, like K-State would choke late. They would lose a game they weren't supposed to lose late in the season, but
now it's early.
Yeah, and then they make a run at the end of the season, and then they hit that late game snag, and they're not as good as they used to be. Iowa State's on the come up. They were pretty solid last year. Pretty as far as the Big 12 goes, pretty damn good. But Iowa State squeaks out the win, 17-14. I bet on a few games, but I just for funsies I bet the over on all of the week 0 matchups. About half of them hit. But let's get into. So this is the current ranking. AP top 25. Coaches polls are whatever. I don't pay much attention to those.
I pay more attention to the coaches polls early in the season than I do the AP for preseason. I think just because I think the coaches tend to know a little bit more than the writers do about who they're going to be coming up against.
Maybe I guess it teach their own. I tend to think that the coaches know their team and they way overvalue their team, and then the rest of it I don't know.
Unless you've got Connor Stallions.
I've not really paid much attention to that whole scandal, but I hear that guy is some sort of savant, and
espionage, a football espionage savant.
The CIA should hire him then, you know. But AP's got Texas at number 1, Penn State at 2, Ohio State at 3, Clemson at 4, and Georgia at 5, rounding out the top 5. Texas going with Arch Manning as their day 1 starter this year. How do you feel about Tejas?
I think this is the make or break year for Arch Manning and for Texas. So Texas is coming in hot. They haven't, I don't know the last time they were ranked number 1 coming in. I feel like that was Vince Young.
Maybe.
Or like around like 2009 or 8, whenever they won. I think it was 2008 when they won. But they're a good team. They did well in the transfer portal. They kept a lot of they kept what they could. And they always recruit well offensively. Arch Manning
and it's Texas. They got more money than God.
Yeah, they're not going to have a shortage of wideouts as an option. I think Arch Manning is going to be a good quarterback. We'll see.
They always got a good defense too.
Yeah, I mean, week 1 is insane. They're starting out. I'm pretty sure they're starting out week 1 against Ohio State on Saturday.
Ohio State. So you got the 1 versus 3 matchup.
1 versus 3.
It's in the big house, isn't it?
Yeah.
Or the horseshoe. The horseshoe.
Yeah, whatever it's called. Horseshoe.
Yeah, big house is Michigan.
Texas is slightly favored here. I am curious to see how Texas shows up against Ohio State's defense. I am not going to say I know anything about Ohio State's offense, but I know that their defense came back pretty strongly from last season. And I think it's a brick wall against maybe unstoppable car, or it's going to collapse.
Ohio State's always got guys. That's no surprise. Penn State, they lost what's his name, Abdul Carter to the draft. That dude's gonna be insane for a while. But nasty defense. They still got that same quarterback that everybody from Penn State's not real high on. But
Drew Aller.
Yeah, that's his name. A lot of people think that Penn State could win it all. Most people that are naysayers is because of their coach.
I don't think so. People hate on James Franklin a lot. Mm-hmm. James Franklin had Vanderbilt ranked for 2 consecutive years. Vanderbilt in the top 25 for 2 years. James Franklin is not the kind of James Franklin shows up. Like Penn State is not a team that you will ever really blow out in a clutch game. The issue is James Franklin is not I wouldn't say he's the greatest quarterbacks guy. He's not going to get the most out of his quarterbacks. So in order to get the most out of Drew Aller, I'm curious to see if they do anything different, because he didn't have a bad season, but they could have used more from him last year, especially in big moments. So genuinely, I think, we'll see. I think this is James Franklin's make or break year. As a coach, he's consistently a top 10 coach with Penn State. He's kind of gotten a lot of people to forget about the Paterno scandal and kind of bringing Penn State back into the national spotlight in a good way. I think this is like the year that if he chokes, they make it to the semifinal, or if they choke in the quarterfinal, I think that might be, the turning when Penn State's kind of like, okay, now you're on the hot seat.
Yeah.
We're on the cusp every year and we're not making it. I think Lane Kiffin is in a similar boat. I think he's maybe 2 years away from that. I don't know. I think that coaches like James Franklin have, especially, with the team that he's got, I think this year it's going to be a Penn State Big Ten champion. I'm going to call it now. I think Penn State's going to win the Big Ten.
Okay.
and it's not going to be. I think they're going to really put on a show. I don't know how strongly I feel about Ohio State. I honestly think in terms of the Big Ten, I would put Ohio State below Oregon, which is the dumbest thing I've ever had to say. Get the fuck out of the Big Ten, Oregon. But I really do think this is Penn State's year to lose in terms of, Midwestern football, Rust Belt football.
Yeah, it seems like, and it seems like they've got a pretty favorable schedule. I wouldn't say it's easy, but favorable. Ohio State at 3. I think you could shake up the top 3, and however they land, I would buy that between Texas, Penn State, Ohio State. Reverse order of those, flip flop, top and bottom, however you want to do it. Penn State at 2, or from 2 to 1. Any combination of that makes sense to me. Clemson seems like Dabo Sweeney has maybe adjusted to the new style of college football with the product on the field has not changed as much, but how you put that team together has changed tremendously. And Dabo looked like he was going to be going the way of like Nick Saban, where Nick Saban's like, fuck that, I don't want any part of it. Yeah. But it seems like he's adjusted somewhat. Clemson's a school that's got money. They got boosters that really love Clemson. That's a pretty rabid fan base. And so it makes sense that they're back up, especially after having, they went forever where they were just like, they were the San Diego Chargers of the South, like they weren't SEC, but of that region of football. Like every year Clemson looked like they were going to run away with it, and then they'd just fall apart at the end. They'd lose a big game. And
they had Trevor Lawrence last time. They were really the 2020s have not been Super Bowl. Trevor Lawrence, 2022? 2021 we're the same age, so it would have been like 2021 that he left for the draft, or 2022. But like the past few years, Clemson has looked beatable.
A little rough. Yeah, like it's not been
bad, not like they're falling apart, but
not dark days or anything, but it's been compared to the high that they were on. Like they really came back down to earth. I would say
for Clemson.
Yeah, Georgia feels like maybe they're on that path right now. They've been at the top of college football for the past 4 or 5 years, with like 2 dominant national championship wins. And now it's like they slid a little bit last year. They're still going to be good. Bama kind of feels like they're in that same situation too. How do they respond to all this new stuff? Notre Dame's kind of back on the come up. Like they've never really gone anywhere, but they've always been overrated. Where now it seems like they're putting a pretty legit team on the field, where they're legit in that final, say 6 or 8 teams that have a legit shot. Notre Dame's in that conversation nowadays.
Last year was a fluke when they lost to Northern Illinois, and they really proved it. They were like, hey, we did not show up. I feel like they kind of owned it. Yeah. They're like, hey, we didn't show up. There's no one to blame but ourselves, and they showed up the rest of the season. I mean, they finished 11-1.
Yeah. They look good too. I mean, they did. I think that coach they got is potentially a really good coach.
Yeah.
Oregon is, Oregon's Oregon, man. That we know they're good. Can they reach that next level? Can they get that championship? I don't know if they can, but it's as good a year as any for them to actually get it. I feel like that about Oregon every year.
Yeah, I think they're one of those teams that's teetering. I'm not gonna. There's no reason for them in the hot seat, but it's kind of like that make or break. Like there's a step that has to be made for them to get to that level, and I think
like they're on the verge of being a blue blood.
Yeah,
but you can't really be a blue blood if you haven't won anything.
That's the other thing. Yeah, there was whatever the step below blue blood is.
Yeah.
I mean, they showed up last year in the Big Ten and they won.
Yeah. They got the shaft on the on how the playoff schedule lined up. Like they really got shafted on that.
Yeah.
But that being said, yeah, when it counts, they have not won. Mm-hmm. So we'll see on them this year. I that's how I feel every year. They say they have as good a shot as anybody in the country to win it. Bama, I feel like they're a team that people are just kind of sleeping on right now because they're still in a transition period, but I think they're going to be really good.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Kalen DeBoer is a better coach than people give him credit for. To follow in Nick Saban's footsteps, a man who won 6 national titles in 12 years or whatever with Alabama, who really kind of, you're not going to do that. It's like trying to follow fucking Tony Dungy in Indianapolis.
Yeah.
Or, and not to say Tony Dungy has the same impact on the NFL that Saban had on the NCAA, but, following the footsteps of someone that great who commands such a presence and who basically created a program that revolved around him, not Alabama, is tough. And they still performed last year. They still played decently for Alabama. By Alabama standards, they played decent.
Yeah, well, they were a bad loss at Oklahoma from being in the playoffs.
A bad loss at Vanderbilt.
That's true. Yeah, I forgot about that. So,
but I think honestly, Vanderbilt was a postseason team. Oklahoma, I don't think was. I think Oklahoma was a worse loss than Vanderbilt.
Yeah, but it was at Oklahoma, so.
Yeah, and it was at Vanderbilt. I think Alabama is truly a team that's going to stick around. They're like Ohio State at this point, I think.
Yeah, I think they're never not going to have guys.
Top 10 team at the very least.
Yeah, I think they're never not going to have guys, and they got so accustomed to winning down there that they're not going to allow them to be a mediocre team like that. It's just not. Things have changed down there. Like you're not allowed to be a shit franchise anymore. With that type of run you went on, it's not allowed. LSU's kind of one of those teams where they could be in the they could be in the SEC championship, or they could be like a 4-loss team.
Yeah, very much so.
Miami, are they going to be anything this year?
Outside of Clemson and occasionally NC State or UNC, tend to not give the ACC any fucking credit.
No,
Mario Cristobal is a good coach, but he is not a great coach. And what Miami needs to take that step to actually be competitive and to be a team that's consistently considered to be one of the best in the country again, they need a great coach. They need someone like Nick Saban to come down and create basically a universe that revolves around Miami. And right now, that's the ACC still revolves around Clemson.
Well, and it's crazy that you're in Miami. You have like the cream of the crop talent down there, and you can't put together like a legitimate football program. It's crazy to me. Arizona State, I think that's way overranked. They lost a lot of guys to the draft. I don't know what they got coming back, but
they've got their quarterback, and their quarterback is, in my personal opinion, not overrated or underrated, but like he is a pretty
he's just rated.
Guy. I genuinely think he's I can't remember anybody's name for the life of me at this point, but he's a solid quarterback. And I think with how they played last year, the Big 12 is theirs to lose. I mean, they're the highest ranked Big 12 team on the board. I think they are genuinely still one of the best, if not the best. I think it's between Arizona State, Iowa State, and K-State right now. Some people are going to say Baylor's above K-State. And honestly, after what they showed in Ireland, I'm not sure they're wrong.
Yeah.
But Arizona, the Big 12 is Arizona State's to lose. They have a strong coach who's really starting to try and build a program in a conference that's built on pure chaos. And I think I think Arizona State's ranked maybe a couple spots high, but when looking at who's below them, I am very curious as to why that is. Looking at Illinois, because honest to fucking God, who the fuck is on Illinois' team? I don't know. I don't know if Indiana's ranked on here at all, but I would definitely rank any Kurt Signetti team over an Illinois team after what I saw last year from Indiana.
Okay.
Did Illinois falter down the stretch? They were kind of like Syracuse. They hit 7-0 and I think they finished 9-3, which isn't a bad season, but it's not ranked 12th in the country in the preseason poll season.
Yeah.
So I have no expectations for Illinois. I'd be surprised if they hang around, but not unpleasantly so.
The Big 12 to me feels like the end of the Sopranos when after like all the main lieutenants got taken out and you're just left with like the crazy street thugs now making their way up to the big leagues. And they're still a Power 5 conference, but they're not really. Like it's a fun conference. It's a really fun conference.
Well, yeah. But I mean, Illinois is a Big 10 team, and I'm very confused, that they're considered now the 4th best Big 10 team. That's ignoring Michigan. And ignoring Michigan's season last year, that's a pretty big, okay. And then you're talking Big 12. I don't even know if Illinois would crack the top 2 in the Big 12 at this point. If the Big 12, if we're talking Arizona State and Iowa State, I don't think Illinois is better than either of those teams.
Okay. Yeah, I got no opinion on that. I don't know. But hot take. I like it. South Carolina, you thought earlier they're ranked too low.
I think they are not the 13th best team in the country. I honestly also don't like LSU there, but I think I'm looking at this and I'm seeing LSU at 9, I'm seeing South Carolina at 13 and Florida at 15. And I'm looking now we've got Oklahoma, Texas A&M, and Ole Miss. I don't think Ole Miss should be above A&M or Oklahoma right now, but I do think they're better than Florida. Absolutely. DJ Lagway is a good quarterback. He's not that good. South Carolina has to show up. They can't just be continually playing fucking season enders at the end of the season and fucking up the rest of the SEC's time. They actually have to show up and play out and finish the season strong and really make a push for that conference championship for me to think that they deserve to be ranked this high at all. I think the SEC is becoming, we're looking at SEC versus the Big Ten. I do not think the SEC is the top conference in football anymore. And that's as a huge SEC homer. But I genuinely think that South Carolina is maybe the 16th best team in the country at best. Florida in the 20s, and I would put Texas A&M for sure above South Carolina. Carolina, and that's saying, that's considering Texas A&M starts hot every year. I don't expect Texas A&M to finish well, but right now they're good. They have it's a cult. As soon as everybody drinks the Kool-Aid, they fall off. And so I don't have expectations for A&M ever. I fucking hate A&M. It's a stupid town. It's a stupid school. And, I don't think South Carolina, again, I'm looking at 12 through 15, and I'm genuinely surprised. Actually, 12 through 16. SMU was hot in the ACC last year, but are they the 16th best team in the country coming in?
Didn't they lose a bunch of guys to the draft too?
Yes, that's the next thing. I'm like looking at some of these teams. Michigan, I think, is maybe underrated, but I don't think they deserve to be rated higher at this point, considering what we saw last season with who they brought back and who they got in the transfer portal and who they with their recruiting class. But I genuinely am looking at some of these teams, and I'm curious as to what the thought process behind these rankings are.
Well, I will say about SMU's, they got that oil money, baby.
They do. Dallas has got a lot of that.
Well, SMU in particular has got.
Now they get to. Well, they segment Dallas as in SMU because they wear that stupid Dallas shit. But now they get to legally pay their players. So,
yeah, isn't it crazy? They got the death penalty back in the day for doing that, and now it's just business as usual. K-State, they will not. You think they're going to be ranked? No,
yes. I think they will, but I think they're going to be ranked 24th or 25 at the end of week 1. That
probably makes sense, honestly.
I mean, Iowa State's it's a ranked loss.
Yep.
To a conference opponent. Out of the country,
neutral site out of the country in bad conditions.
And I don't think K-State played well, but I don't know if it's not like they got shut out. They put up 21. They lost 21-24. Defensively, it wasn't their best showing, but I mean, they're still a good team. I think they're going to be in the running at the end of the season if they can make it to the end of the season with only one other loss. For the Big 12 conference, and I think they might have a chance at the playoffs still, considering if Iowa State doesn't collapse.
Yeah,
I think K-State, this is a good quality loss for them.
Sounds good. I think that all makes sense to me. Oklahoma at 18. What's the score on
last season too, right? I mean, I'm curious to see if Oklahoma can actually figure out how to play football this year. They beat Alabama.
Oklahoma's got that oil money too, so.
Yeah, I mean, again, this is a team that collapsed early on last season and couldn't figure it out. So, it's kind of the opposite of Texas A&M. Texas A&M sucked early on. They were not playing good football, and they figured it out down the stretch. I am genuinely curious if Oklahoma is going to be able to start strong and stay strong, because if they are, they can and will be one of the better teams in the country, if not, or in the SEC, if not the country.
Yeah.
I just think they went from the Big 12, a conference that they ran, to a conference that has maybe the most parity in the entire country now that the Pac-12 has been disbanded.
Yeah.
The SEC is a tough conference to play in. I mean, you have teams. Ole Miss, I would not consider to be one of the best teams in the country, but they continually play very well in the SEC. So now you're not just playing, Baylor and K-State and Kansas for your conference. You're playing Alabama, Georgia, Texas, Ole Miss, LSU. Tennessee. It's a gauntlet. They went from a conference that wasn't super strong to a gauntlet of a conference, and last year they showed that they were not ready. So this year, maybe we see some improvement. Maybe we don't.
Yeah, I hope we don't, because fuck OU, but I wouldn't be surprised to see them be pretty good. They do football pretty well down there in Norman.
Yeah, they're very good at football.
So, I mean, fuck them. But
fuck Oklahoma. Fuck the
but they do football pretty well. A&M, kind of the same thing. Like they do football pretty okay, I would say. Oklahoma does football pretty well. A&M's pretty they're flashy. They always have a lot of guys, but they never seem to do anything with it. Indiana, was last year a fluke?
I don't think so.
I don't think it was a fluke, but I think it was a blip.
I don't know. I think looking at Cignetti's track record, I don't think it was. I think that they are ranked appropriately. I think Illinois is ranked too high in comparison, but I think they are ranked appropriately, and I don't think it's a blip. I think they are kind of going to be taking – Wisconsin seems to have fallen off significantly, and I don't know who fucked up and got cursed over there in Madison, but I think Indiana's kind of taking their place in the Big Ten. Kind of that.
It seems, yeah, that makes, and they're doing it like they're more of a spread them out and like high flying offense type of deal, aren't they?
Yeah.
Whereas, Wisconsin's always like that's a classic Big Ten team. Just
Wisconsin likes to play like a smash mouth team, but they haven't recruited like a smash mouth team. They're recruiting that Wisconsin's been recruiting high flying spread offensive players to go play in their Big Ten smash mouth football offense.
Yeah, like they haven't updated the playbook since the 60s.
Yeah, it's really what it feels like, and they're trying things that they're not building a team for. Indiana, I think under Curt Cignetti is going to be maybe the third or fourth best team perennially, up there with Penn State, Ohio State, Michigan, and Oregon. I think they're going to be that top five. I think they're rounding out that top five. And genuinely, I think they might be able to push every couple years to be in that top three, top two. Especially with the way, Curt Cignetti has shown that he can coach in tough situations with Liberty.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how that pans out. Yeah, we'll see. I've heard a lot of talk about a big fall off from Indiana this year. We'll see how that plays out. Ole Miss, appropriate or no?
I would maybe rank them higher than A&M, and that's kind of as far as I would go as an Ole Miss homer.
Okay.
I think
this is kind Ole Miss and A&M.
Yeah, I would flip flop those.
Okay.
And honestly, I'd flip flop I'd take out LSU entirely, or I'd flip flop Ole Miss and LSU if I had it my way. But Ole Miss tends to play better anyways when they're underranked. Then, so I honestly think Ole Miss is going to end up with a potential for an 11-win season.
Okay.
And that also leaves the potential for the first 12-win season in history for Ole Miss.
Did they win 11 last year?
No, because I don't think they did. If they did, I don't remember. Let's see. They finished at 10-3 overall. Yeah.
Okay.
They had 9. They won their bowl game, which is what I thought, but they lost 3 in the conference. Ole Miss's strength of the schedule, I'm not going to say it's great, but they're favored in every game except for their game against Georgia. At this point, I am curious to see how their new quarterback does in replacement of Jackson Dart, because that's a pretty tough role to fill. Jackson Dart's an underrated quarterback, I think, but a very good quarterback. Austin Simmons, he played well in his limited starts or his limited plays, snaps. But, I think this is another test for Lane Kiffin, because right now I feel like Ole Miss, I think he's a little complacent with the team. I think we're one of those teams that's 2 steps away from really being huge national title contenders, but I really think we can make some noise in the SEC. I just think he needs to step up and kind of take some risks. And I don't mean like, oh, go for it on fourth down, which she does already. I mean kind of in the portal and in how he's game planning.
Okay.
And I think Ole Miss has a chance to go 11-1. Looking at their schedule, their hardest game right now is against LSU, which they are, or Georgia, and the only team that they're not favored to beat is Georgia. They're favored to beat every other team that they're playing that's ranked, which is LSU, Georgia, Oklahoma, South Carolina, and Florida. They're favored to win every other game. I mean, in theory, they should be ranked higher based on that. If they are predicted to win against every team that's ranked higher than them, except for one, they should be ranked higher. But this is a season. This is a team that is building a foundation. I think now it's time to see how structurally sound it is.
All right. So you think they get the 11 wins?
Yes, but they're going to have 2 conference losses. It's going to come as a bowl game.
Okay.
And I think they make the playoff. I'm not going to say that they're going to, I don't think they win the conference.
It's 12 team playoff this year.
Yeah.
And then next year's the 16.
I think, 2026 is the 16, 2025 is still 12.
And they're going with they're not doing like, you gotta like conference champs get in, but that doesn't secure you a bye this year. So
yes.
So you're not going to have Boise and Arizona State with a bye.
With a bye. No, I don't think that's going to happen.
Which is appropriate, I think.
Yeah. I also do like looking at some of these strengths of schedules and starts. Ole Miss is playing Georgia State. I wouldn't say that's a cakewalk. It's not a hard game.
They've had success against D1 schools in the past.
Yeah.
So
I mean, Georgia State's not a terrible team. I think Iowa State really showed out with their, win over a higher ranked team in conference right away. I think, looking at how Iowa State played in that game, they played tough, they played disciplined football, and it was sloppy at times, but that was because of the weather, and they kept it. They kept more control, I think, than K-State.
Iowa State kind of thrives. They're like the Seattle of the Midwest, where it's just like it's always kind of gloomy in Ames,
Yeah, it's because it's depressing.
So that's where Slipknot came from.
Yeah, and
I don't know if it was from Ames, but basically, it makes sense. So yeah, it seems like they thrive in those situations where it just kind of sucks.
Yeah, I think they are the best. They're the only team that I think is going to give Arizona State real trouble, and I think they've got the best chance outside of Arizona State to win the Big 12. That's not saying that they will. It's a long season ahead, and it's one win against a K-State team that's still trying to figure itself out after they lost with Avery Johnson at the helm at quarterback. I don't like that they're ranked so low. I think they should be higher. But I like this Iowa State team, and I think they can make a run. And I think if they make it to the playoff, I think they can do some serious damage.
Okay.
If the matchup is favorable. Put up against a Big Ten team, I'm not sure I like that matchup anymore.
Well, and then Ames is always a tough place to play. So I was listening to something today, and I think their toughest matchups are at home. So that bodes well for them. And so I kind of like Iowa State. I think it's going to come down to Iowa State, K-State in the Big 12. I feel like Arizona State, that was kind of a blip season last year. We'll see. They could be good, but Texas Tech, I won't believe in them until they've actually done anything ever.
Yeah, I think they're going to be one of those teams that's going to finish the season 9-3, 8-4, and they're going to have 2 ranked wins under their belt, and it's going to be against someone like K-State or Iowa State, and it's going to ruin their whole season. But they're not going to. It's going to knock someone out of playoff contention. They're gonna play well enough to have a solid bowl, but they're not the 23rd best team in the country. I think that's maybe Tennessee, and I would maybe I don't know. I'm looking at some of the people who got snubbed and comparing them to Texas Tech last season, and BYU. I think, despite the fact that they lost Jake Retzlaff at quarterback, I think better all-around team than
they
Texas
lost him because he likes to fuck.
Mm-hmm. He's not a very good Mormon Jew, but I think
that's right. He's a Jew. I don't.
Yeah, BY Jew. I don't understand quite how it works, considering that it's a Mormon university and you have to attend Mormon classes and do Mormon things like soak. But
they also do believe themselves to be the lost tribe of Israel. So
that is very true.
So yeah, that's a whole nother aside. I could go on about that for hours, but we're talking college football. Yeah, so that's kind of a big shakeup for BYU. Utah's always a good team. They don't is Cam Rising finally done with college football?
I hope. He graduated high school before I did. I have been in and out of the Army. I've lived in 8 states. I've gone to 7 different schools, all while he was still in college, going to the University of Utah.
Yeah.
So, God, I hope he's done.
All right. So then Tennessee. How legit's Tennessee this year? Are they just still another cock tease where it's like, hey, remember when Tennessee used to be good? We're kind of there again, and then they're just not.
Yeah, so I'm not gonna ever underrate Josh Heupel or a Josh Heupel-led team. This is a team that couldn't figure out their shit with a starting quarterback who is decently talented, played maybe worse than his billing, but he
also kind of left him high and dry too.
Oh, it's definitely his fault. But
yeah,
it's a team that doesn't, at quarterback, I honestly couldn't tell you how strong their room is behind Maliva, who was like, I am Maliva, y'all, in Knoxville to go hit up LA. I don't know. Knoxville's great. I don't know why you would want to go to LA. There's moonshine in them hills.
Well, yeah, there's, I don't know. I've never been to Knoxville, but it seems like that's a fun place to go watch.
Well, Johnny Knoxville is not named Johnny Los Angeles. So
yeah, exactly.
I think that's worth noting.
That's true.
I like this Boise State team. I think they might be underranked for how deep they still are as a roster. But they're gonna run the shit. I think.
I think they will too. They lost Genty and he's a generational type player, but it doesn't matter. Boise's always got guys. Like they don't have the guys like the Blue Bloods have, but they got the next best, and they always have. They stack them up. Those guys just know how to. They're also very. They're not an official Mormon school, but there's a lot of Mormons up there, and they know how to. One thing the Mormons know how to do. It's recruit.
Yeah, and they recruit.
So, I think Boise's going to be a problem. Like they're gonna, like you said, they're gonna run the Mountain West, and I don't know who their big out of conference games are this year, but they're probably going to be a problem for whoever they play. With all that being said, let's go to the week 1 games. So
we had Iowa State. I mean, it was K-State.
What did you make out of what Hugh Freeze had to say there?
You know what? I don't know.
What
I
the
know what
hell?
I can make out of. Good to see you too, Paul. And I did catch the not golfers drop there on Hugh.
We're about to be demonetized.
I know.
I'm so curious about what they look like. I don't
didn't
think
want
I'm
it to
more
play. They
curious
played on
about
their
any
own.
other team in their week
there
one
he
game
is.
there he
than
is in
I
the
am
corner.
about
Yeah.
Auburn. He's talked about three
I see him
quarterbacks,
now.
Paul.
I
He's
muted
talked about
tab. We're
three
good.
different play callers depending on what
I can
down
hear it,
is.
Oh,
leading
you
Lane
can?
Kiffin to even
Yeah.
ask
Oh,
who calls the plays on fourth down.
huh.
I have
All right. There we go.
Okay, we're good. We're good. Shut up. We know more about football than you.
Yeah.
All right. Boise State's gonna rock South Florida. Honestly, South Florida is at their best when they're playing Alabama, and Boise State is not Alabama, so they're gonna get the shit rocked.
So it's supposed to be 89 degrees. It's going to be humid. That plays against Boise, but that being said, I don't care. Boise's going to win this, and Vegas has got them at a 6.5 point favorite, so they're expecting a 1-score game is a close game in college football. One score spread. So they're expecting it to be close. It's right at the heat of the day. I don't care, man. I'll take Boise. I would take Boise to cover that too. I haven't heard anything about South Florida being any sort of anything. So yeah, give me Boise.
I don't. This is another nothing game. Illinois versus Western Illinois. It's like Tennessee playing UT Martin.
A 45.5 point spread. 45.5.
I would take that because Illinois is about to run the shit over Western Illinois.
Yeah, that seems like probably likely. And
this
then early game. It's a 9 o'clock game here on the West Coast, which is
it's at 10 a.m. Mountain West time.
That's crazy for a 1 versus 3 matchup.
Yeah, this should be a primetime evening slot game, but I think it's because the Big Ten have that middle of the day slot on Fox.
That's true.
And I mean, this is like the kickoff. This is like the kickoff of football for Fox.
Mm-hmm.
You know, or for the whole season. It's the first game of the year.
Yeah.
On Saturday. So it makes sense. I would take.
I'd get more people watching if it was evening. I guarantee you.
Yeah.
So like I mean I guess I like an early college football game if you're there in person. If you're not, I like them to be in the evening. You know, they just because I'm going to be 40 this fall, so I like my games in the evening. Yeah, I like my baseball games in the afternoon. I like doing my thing in the afternoon, listening to baseball on the radio. I actually prefer to listen to the radio broadcast while watching the game.
That's interesting. I like the Royals TV guys, but the Rockies, I love their radio broadcast.
Yeah. Well, the Royals had what was the guy that he's not a full time anymore, but their radio guy was fantastic. I forget his name, but was it Denny something
like that.
But yeah, so yeah, that's just seems weird to me that you'd put a 1 versus 3 week 1 at noon Eastern. That's a crazy time slot for such a huge game. But Ohio State at home favored -2.5. Overs at 47.5, or so over would be 48. Does Texas have the nuts to pull one out at the Horseshoe?
Yes, but
is Arch Manning that guy? That's my question. Is Arch Manning that guy? Because I don't have. Yes. I have no faith in Steve Sarkisian. like he's a good coach, but his track record shows that he doesn't win these big games. The Mannings, on the other hand, have a lineage of winning the big games.
Yeah, they do.
Ryan Day, he won the big game last year, but a lot of talk about him not being a great coach from Ohio State people.
Ohio State, I don't trust a word that comes out of their mouth.
I don't either.
Ryan Day has won them a national championship this century or this decade within the past 4 years.
Last year.
Yeah. You want to talk to me about them not being good? He's a legitimately good head coach, and he has proven that multiple times. I do, however, like Steve Sarkisian and Arch Manning to beat them by, like, let's say, I can see it being like 27-28.
Okay.
I think Ohio State's going to fall short trying to get an extra 2-point conversion, or they're going to end up kicking 2 field goals because they couldn't get a touchdown.
That spread's basically a toss-up because, like a field goal game loses it for you or wins it for you. So Vegas is not sold by any means on Ohio State, but their gut says Ohio State, but they're not giving you any juice on that 2.5 point spread. So that'll be a fun one. I'll be listening to it at work. Saturday. I'll be in Seattle.
Yes, you will.
And 9:00, we could watch that. We have kegs and eggs and watch the game before we go tailgate.
Yeah, I've kind of got a plan. I've got football on the TV all day on Saturday. I'm getting paid. I'm going to be having food. I'm going to be having people. No one's going to show up because it's Laramie, but it's going to be a good day for football.
Nice. I used when I was in college, one of my last semesters, like fall semesters, the guy that I worked for in the summer, his dad made coyote calls, or manufactured them, and he paid me $0.25 a piece to put them together. And so I would just get drunk and watch college football and put coyote calls together, and I could make about $20 an hour doing that. And it was fantastic.
You're putting 40 coyote calls together now. You're just machine.
Well, it was 4 pieces. So it was the body of the call, the reed, a little block that held the reed in place, and like one of those thick green castrating bands for calves or for docking sheep's tails. You'd slide that over the reed to adjust the pitch. Oh, and then a sticker on the front of the call. But so it was pretty simple process. And once you got into a rhythm, you could just book it. And I just watched college football, drank beer, and made money on a Saturday. It was nice. Syracuse at Tennessee. Syracuse lost their quarterback to the draft this last year. They kind of had a little run. I don't know of anything that they've done in the offseason because who pays attention to Syracuse football? Do they give Tennessee any sort of problems?
Yes.
Spreads at 13.5.
They're going to make it look close in the first half. Tennessee, I think, is going to be figuring their kind of shit out, and Syracuse is not a walk in the park.
Okay.
So I do think it's going to probably end up being like a 14-25 or 28-35 type game. But it's going to look close for a while because Tennessee is going to be trying to get their sea legs under them.
Tennessee win by 2 touchdowns?
Yes.
Okay. So Old Dominion at Indiana, that's not a real game. Is Old Dominion any good?
No.
Yeah.
No,
So
not
yeah.
at all.
Yeah. So that's not a real game this year. Even if you're fading Indiana, like, yeah, that's not a real game. Nevada, the Wolfpack at Penn State. That's going to be an absolute blowout. 44-point spread. I've not heard. I live an hour and a half from Reno. I know a ton of people that went to UNR. I've not heard anything about the UNR football team this year. If anything, you'll hear about them in basketball, but you haven't heard about them in basketball in a couple of years either. So, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Penn State covered that 44-point spread. Marshall at Georgia. Is Marshall any good this year?
They might do something in I think they're Conference USA, but
39.5-point spread.
not against Georgia. I'm sorry. Yeah. The herd is going to get herded.
Yeah, I think that's probably accurate. Bama, Florida State. Is Florida State, how bad are they?
I don't know. I think that last year
I've heard rumblings that they might kind of be good this year.
I have too. And I think last year they put all their eggs in the ukulele basket. And
ukulele was at Oregon State last year.
Yeah, what's his face? Who was it? It was who was their quarterback last year?
He got hurt though, right? Was it first game or was it even in the preseason that he got hurt?
I think it was preseason, and then he dropped it because he got hurt.
Yeah. But
honest to God, I am interested. Oh, it's Thomas Castellanos. They stole him from Boston College. And last year he played, I mean, he lit them up.
Okay.
And he had a pretty solid season. I am curious to see how they do. I don't think they've got much of a chance against Alabama, but they might make a push. I think I'm going to call it an 8-4 for Florida State this year.
Okay.
Which last year is a pretty big improvement.
So this is a 13.5-point spread, 2-touchdown game. Does Bama win by 2 touchdowns?
I'm going to say no.
Yeah,
they will. I think Bama's going to kind of come in, and it's going to be like the Tennessee game. Florida State is going to keep it close, if not tied it going into half, and Alabama's just going to open the scoring up.
So, I'm no fan of Florida State. I typically don't like Florida teams in general. I've got a very, very west of the Mississippi type of bias. But college football's better when Florida State's good. So I kind of hope they're pretty good. And I'm not seeing an upset by any means, but it'd be kind of cool if Florida State made it a close game. Give them a good game anyway. So we'll see. South Dakota.
Thomas Castellanos has experience beating good teams. He's got experience in big games. It's not like they got a guy who was playing in the Mountain Western Conference USA last year. And he lit up the ACC pretty well. And he's a dual threat guy. So we'll see.
All right. South Dakota at Iowa State. Is South Dakota any good?
I don't follow FCS football, but I don't think they're as good as the Jackrabbits. So.
I was gonna say that it's the state schools that are. It's like NDSU and SDSU that are good.
Yeah.
Montana's usually better than Montana State.
Well, Montana State last year was one of the best teams in the entire country.
That's true.
FCS level. I am curious. I would love to see a repeat of the Idaho State-Oregon game last year. Or Idaho-Oregon game. I would love to see Oregon squeak out a win over Montana State.
Yeah. So going back to the Iowa State thing, not to cut you off, but they've only got it at a 14.5-point spread for an FCS school. So are they saying that Iowa State sucks or that South Dakota is pretty good?
I think that they're probably saying that South Dakota is a better team than you would imagine. It's also, Iowa State.
True, but it's also at Iowa State, and 14.5 points seems low. So yeah, I think Iowa State covers that. Montana State and Oregon, though, it's a 29.5 point spread. How does Montana State do? Did they because I don't follow FCS football at all either.
I genuinely think they've got a chance to scare Oregon fans again. I don't see them winning this, but I can see them covering the spread. They had a very high flying offense last year, dual threat quarterback. They run the ball equally as much as they throw the ball, and they're very brutally efficient in their offense. Defensively, I'm not sure how well they're going to be able to hold up against Oregon, but offensively, I think they might be able to keep up somewhat. I can see Oregon winning.
They're definitely not going to have the size. They're not going to have the size to go up against them. Yeah, I don't know. I would imagine Oregon rolls. 30's a lot of points, especially for even if it is a D2 school, a D2 school that was really good. 30 points week 1. They probably. I can't imagine they don't cover, but also
I don't think they're covering. I think it's going to be a 21-35 game. Or a 14-35 game.
All right.
But I don't think they're going to cover.
Okay.
I think they're going to win by 3 scores.
All right. We'll see how that goes. I could see that happening if, like I said, I don't follow FCS football, so I don't know what Montana State's bringing back. I know they were good last year, but Illinois State at Oklahoma. I have no clue what Illinois State is like. Spreads at 35.5. So I would assume Oklahoma rolls.
I would love them to lose.
I would too. I don't see it happening, but it would be funny. I would laugh really hard. Long Island University. That's not a real school.
Oh my God.
At Florida.
That's as much of a cakewalk as I've ever seen.
There is no spread, which means Vegas says you're not allowed to bet on this game because it's not worth your money to pick Florida to win, and we're not going to take the chance by some fluke that Florida or that Long Island University wins because the odds are going to be so high.
You could bet $1 on that and win $10,000 if they win.
Yeah, or on the flip side, you'd have to bet $1,000 to win $1.
Mm-hmm. North Dakota. I think K-State's going to run rampant over North Dakota, and not at the fault of North Dakota, but because K-State's pissed they lost their opener.
I think so too, and it's a 25.5 point spread. Yeah, that Avery Johnson put up 273 in that game. That was sloppy as hell. Yeah, I can't imagine that they don't beat him by a good like 35. UTSA, what's their story this year? They any good?
Last year they were not awful.
They've been kind of salty in the past.
A salty team is what they were.
I think you're muted.
I don't love their chances in College Station against A&M. But again, we might see kind of a repeat of last year where their A&M chokes and UTSA at least has a game. And that's always a chance. Against A&M, you're either going to have a game or you're going to get blown out. And if
Can
you're
you hear me?
UTSA,
I can't hear you. Hold on. We'll be right back.
all right.
All right. Can you hear me?
I can. Yeah, I didn't lose you.
All right. I got you. Yeah, I couldn't hear you for some reason. I got you now. All right. Yeah, UTSA has been kind of salty in the past. A&M, they've always got a truckload of talent. Spreads at 24.5. I'd imagine A&M covers that pretty easy. I haven't heard anything about UTSA being a dark horse for anything, but
Yeah.
LSU Clemson, that's an interesting game. In Clemson, what do they call that? Death Valley.
Yeah, they call it Death Valley because in the 40s, I was reading ESPN had an article because I was so bored and there was nothing about college football, but like their traditions, and they call it Death Valley because they have a rock from Death Valley and they touch it before they go in.
No shit.
Yeah, they call it Death Valley in Baton Rouge because you will die. But
yeah,
in Clemson, you can touch a rock, and that's why it's Death Valley.
Hey, we're in South Carolina, but we got this rock from California.
Yeah.
That's so dumb. All right. So spreads minus 3.5 for Clemson. So Clemson's favored at home by a little over a field goal. How do you feel about that? Does Clemson, do they take it home?
Mm-hmm. I do think Clemson's going to win this. I think they're going to win by a touchdown. Honestly, this is LSU. I think I didn't talk about it enough. Is a make or break year for Brian Kelly.
Oh yeah, family.
Yeah, honestly,
isn't that crazy how he developed that Southern Cajun accent all of a sudden?
Yeah, I know. Oh yeah, no, especially from someone who. I mean, I was there when Ed Ordron was there. You couldn't understand. That's a Cajun accent. That's a homegrown, homebrewed.
That was a real ass coon ass.
In the gumbo pot. That's a Cajun accent. This is some shit you pick up when you go to Texas one time and you buy a cowboy hat at Boot Barn and Dallas, and you're like,
he is the Yellowstone of coon asses.
Yes, it absolutely is. It's like, oh, I watched Yellowstone one time. Now I'm all Western.
Yeah,
Yellowstone's in Montana, dumbass.
Where'd the Southern accent come from?
Yeah, no, I think LSU is going to start the season on 1. I think that they are a team that is going to finish the season 9-3 on the outside looking in because they were just this close. And I think if it comes down to it, like how LSU last year ended up pulling it out against Ole Miss, this is a team that I think is going to end up they're going to end up choking the way Ole Miss did. Not against Ole Miss, but like in those same scenarios. I don't think they're as feisty, and I think they kind of used it all up. I don't like Brian Kelly as a coach. I genuinely don't believe that he has that it factor that you need to win in the SEC and that you need to win against a team like Clemson. Clemson's the only team in the South that's not in the SEC that I really consider a perennial like giant to beat. Florida State is not that. North Carolina, NC State, they're not that.
No, Virginia Tech used to be that. They're not anymore.
Not Tech. Georgia Tech's the same way. It used to be. And now that Texas, and if you consider Texas or Oklahoma to be part of the South, it used to be Texas or Oklahoma that was that team. Now they're part of the SEC. So genuinely, Clemson, I think, is going to finish in the top 5, if not the top 4. I think the team that Dabo Swinney has concocted, he was very stingy with the transfer portal. He brought in some of the best guys available and only some of the best guys available. And so I think genuinely this is going to be a team that's going to be very tough to beat, and I don't think LSU has it this year. I don't know if there's a team in the SEC who I would really strongly say, outside of maybe Texas, who has that kind of Clemson beating team.
Okay.
And that's not on how good Clemson is. That's how bad the SEC is at the moment.
Oh, okay.
The SEC is now the best of the good.
Okay. That makes sense.
And that's, not saying that any other conference is any better than they are outside of the Big Ten. But outside of Texas, Georgia, Alabama, Ole Miss, and I guess you could maybe throw in LSU or South Carolina there, depending, because I don't trust them. The South Carolina, A&M, LSU teams, they haven't put it together. Honestly, neither has Ole Miss.
No, not at all.
No. So outside of Bama, Georgia, and Texas, I don't really love this. The SEC's got a lot of parity now, but it's not, I wouldn't really touch
it's how we looked at the National League West at the start of the season.
Yes.
Where it just murderers row. I mean, but also the one that comes out of it's going to be dog ass tired at the end of it. So, Bangaliers got a 2-out double in the bottom of the 9th, all tied up. Bangaliers has been on a run here lately, by the way, not to sidetrack too much.
The Royals came back from being down 4-0 to win. I was
they won me money today. I
really worried that we were going to lose 2 games to the White Sox at a score of 11-0, but we pulled it out.
Me and Jake's hat bet is neck and neck. I think Jake's up 3 runs on me at the moment. All right, New Mexico, Michigan, at Michigan. New Mexico is so bad. Michigan, I'm interested to see what Michigan does this year. So they're without their head coach for the first 3 games or some shit like that.
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
New Mexico, that's not going to be a problem at all. Spreads at 34.5. Yeah, it'll be fine. They'll be fine. Texas Tech at Arkansas Pine Bluff. There's not even a spread on that, so that'll be a boat race. Georgia State at Ole Miss, 35.5 point spread. Where's Georgia State at?
Ooh, are you looking it up?
No, I was thinking there. So it's funny
Atlanta,
how
they're also out of Atlanta.
Geez, how many colleges does Atlanta have?
I thought it was Atlanta. I was like, well, no, that's Tech. It's Tech and Georgia State that are in Atlanta, and then Georgia's in
Athens. But they also have Emory, the medical school there in Atlanta.
Oh, that's
as well.
True.
They got a lot of colleges in Atlanta. Anyway, 35.5 point spread. I would imagine Ole Miss does just fine. East Texas A&M at SMU. There's no spread on that. No need. East Texas A&M. That's got to be one step above a JUCO, I would imagine.
I mean, yeah, it's a tiny little school that's it's a trade school for the swamp, or an ag school for the swamp.
Yeah, that makes sense. Northern Arizona at Arizona State. That's another nothing matchup. 28.5 point spread for Arizona State. And then Sunday we got Virginia Tech at South Carolina. That would have been a really good game. How is Virginia Tech nowadays? What was the coach? Beamer, Frank Beamer.
Yeah.
They his last couple of years, Beamer ball wasn't so hot, and then they really haven't done anything because he's not there anymore, is he?
I don't think he is. No.
Yeah, and so I'm interested though because that's kind of an old school, like not quite a blue blood, but like on the cusp of being a blue blood school, and then they just fell off. Okay, so here we go. Notre Dame at Miami. That's a good matchup.
This is going to be like kind of temperature setting for both Miami and Notre Dame.
I think Notre Dame wins regardless, but how they win, I think you're exactly right. Like if that spread holds up 2.5 points, so if, let's say it's a field goal game, either way, like if Notre Dame wins by a field goal, I think that means Miami's pretty good because I think Notre Dame's pretty good. But I kind of like Notre Dame to blow them out.
Yeah.
Like 2 scores. We'll see how it goes, but that's kind of my feeling. Because I don't buy Miami, and I against my better judgment, I think Notre Dame's pretty good. Kind of pains me to say it. I'm a kind of dyed in the wool Notre Dame hater, but all right. So let's get into the.
I wanted to talk about Wyoming real quick. Let
me pull up the Mountain West schedule.
Okay.
Because yeah. So Idaho State UNLV barely beat Idaho State. Wasn't UNLV supposed to be kind of good?
They got votes for top 25. They did not finish last season ranked, but they finished with I think they had either a 9-win or 10-win season last year. They were,
and that was in spite of all the NIL madness that they had. Where honestly, fuck UNLV. It seemed like the players walking away was because they didn't get paid what they were supposed to. Yeah,
it was. It was a contract based on respect. It was unfortunately the players didn't sign, a contract that guaranteed it. But when you're like, hey, no, we'll pay you. Don't worry, I've got you. And then you don't, and then you're like, oh, why are you fucking off? Why are you fucking me over? It's because you fucked them over in the first place.
Yeah. But they still made a run at the end, but yeah, fuck UNLV. And then they didn't, they won. They won by a touchdown, but to FCS school. And I hope they choke on a big old dick this year. Because now I'm in Nevada, and so I'm obligated by marriage to hate UNLV, and I feel I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. Fresno State lost to KU 31-7. Fresno, I think they beat CSU to deny them a spot in the Mountain West Championship last year, didn't they? No, yeah, they did. Because Fresno and CSU was favored in that game. All they had to do was beat Fresno, and then they could have got shit stomped by Boise in the Mountain West Championship. But they spared themselves and lost to Fresno, who got beat by KU. Is KU going to be any good this year?
Not any more than they have been. I can see them being like an 8-win team. I can see them being like an 8-win team. I mean, last year they went on a run, and
that's pretty good for KU. I mean, that's really good for KU actually, but it seems like they've started focusing a little bit more on football there in Lawrence, and I mean, in a conference like the new Big 12, they could do some damage if they got some guys. So, Hawaii, were they favored in that game?
Against Stanford, I don't think they were.
I don't think so either. I want to say that was an upset, but I don't know for sure. But that's one of the few times where Hawaii didn't put up like 40 points and lose. They lost me money. I picked the over on that because Hawaii's like an automatic over, but they did not. So Thursday we got Wyoming at Akron. Wyoming is favored by 5.5. Overs at 49. What do you got? What is the Wyoming Cowboys going to do this year?
I don't know. So they just recently, I think over the summer, undid the Coach Bowl decision to have no walk-ons. Now, Wyoming has kind of struggled to get away from the we've only ever gotten Josh Allen. And that's the best thing we've ever done. So like that kind of hump. So I'm really hoping that we've got some players who know how to play. Akron is a team that is unlike Wyoming, I think, in the fact that they do genuinely get some corn-fed boys out there, and they don't put together great teams, but they're consistent with their teams. Wyoming is inconsistent.
The city of Akron is probably double the size or the population of Wyoming.
I wouldn't say it's got 1 million people in Akron.
Does Wyoming got 500,000 now?
Mm-hmm. And it's dropping. Okay. It's going down.
So yeah, Akron's probably what, a couple 100,000?
I would say so. Akron is probably 5 or 6 times the size of Laramie for sure.
I want to say Akron's bigger than Fort Collins, but not as big as Denver.
It's not that. I mean, it's around probably the same size of like Thornton.
Okay, yeah. So
because it's kind of outside of Cleveland. Like it's
and that where LeBron's from.
Yeah, it's where LeBron is from. So.
All right. So does Wyoming? Do they got enough to beat Akron by a touchdown at home?
I think the answer to that is yes. However, I was not watching Akron's preseason practices, so we'll see. I mean, this Wyoming team looks like it's got a better handle on shit than they did last year, which is understandable. It's a legacy coach giving way to a new guy who is part of the system, but still kind of making his own mark. So I think we'll see a better Jay Savell-led team than we saw last year. I wouldn't say we're going to be like pushing rankings like we did in 2023. But I definitely think we're going to, I would say we're a bowl team. I think I'm going to conservatively say 6, but I'm hoping for 8 wins. I think we can have 8 wins in the conference this year.
Okay.
I think Akron is going to be not a cakewalk, but we're going to show up and we're going to play pretty well.
I think they should win this. I think 8 wins is a stretch, but we'll see.
8 wins is a stretch. I'm hoping for 8 wins. And that means the average is probably 6 or 7 wins, I think we'll have. But I think we're going to be bowl eligible.
Okay. Stony Brook at San Diego State. Who cares? UNLV at Sam Houston. Who cares? UNLV's favored by 10. San Diego State's only 18.5 against Stony Brook. Is Stony Brook any good? San Diego State's usually pretty decent.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe SDSU sucks this year. Maybe Stony Brook's going to run the table in the FCS.
Yeah, maybe so.
Level they play at.
That seems like a low spread for, especially San Diego State. Like they're usually pretty solid, at least for like these mid-major conferences. Central Michigan at San Jose State. Apparently the MAC's not going to be good if San Jose's favored by 12.5. Nevada at Penn State. No need to talk about that. Bucknell Air Force. There's no spread listed, and Air Force doesn't score that many points, so Bucknell's not good.
Yeah, well, they're a smart school. You don't go to Bucknell to play football.
Well, I'm just saying, like they don't post a spread when it gets above like 50, and
right.
Air Force doesn't put up that kind of point. Like they still run the options, so. That's that could be an ugly game. UTEP, Utah State's by 5.5. What's the story on Utah State this year? They're good every now and then.
I think they're going to be mid. I think they're going to kind of be like Wyoming, SJSU, Fresno, kind of 8-4 ceiling, probably going to get 6-6, maybe 5-7 if they're unlucky. UTEP is going to struggle.
Is UTEP in the Mountain West now?
This is a conference game. I think Utah State's going to beat the spread here, especially watching UTEP last year. I don't think they're going to make the jump successfully.
Yeah. So is this UTEP's first year in the Mountain West?
Their first year. We just got them kind of as a replacement for CSU and Boise, and
okay.
You fucks going to go play in the Pac-12. I can see why Boise does. Okay, CSU is in one of the most landlocked states in the country.
But geography makes no difference anymore. That when Stanford and Cal are on the ACC or in the ACC, like when two teams that are literally on the Pacific Coast are in the Atlantic Coast Conference, where we jump the shark when it comes to conference realignment. So like that. CSU to the Pac-12 is one of the least egregious moves of the past.
It's egregious as a Wyoming fan, but you're absolutely right.
Geographic. I don't particularly like it either. Like, I'm glad that it's only Washington State and Oregon State because they're still state schools, and so like they're ag school. I'm all about the ag schools battling it out, which is why I think like schools like CSU and Wyoming should drop down to FCS. It'd make more sense for like historical rivalries with Montana and the Dakotas, and
our historical rivalry is with Colorado State.
I know, and neither of us are good enough to be D1 teams.
I don't know. Y'all played pretty damn good last year.
That was
Wyoming held Texas like held their own with Texas a couple years ago in Coach Bowl's last season. We beat Texas Tech in Lubbock. I mean, both of our teams have been like Wyoming was on the cusp of getting ranked in 2023. Y'all were on the cusp of being in the top 30. You know, y'all were close last season. I
CSU was ranked as high as 22 not that long ago.
Yes.
But that being said,
we're not. I don't know. We produced Josh Allen. Y'all produced Mike Bobo.
Well, we got a couple guys in, Joey Porter Jr.
Michael Gallup. I mean,
yeah,
y'all. I think you're doing not just Wyoming as a fan, but I think you're doing CSU and Wyoming a disservice in saying that we should be in the FCS. I genuinely think both of our teams are good enough with good coaching. I think we're those kinds of teams that are fringe top 40 teams in the country. sometimes, and sometimes we're fringe top 25.
It's pretty few and far between.
Wyoming has a national championship.
In what?
Football.
They do?
And wrestling. We're Big Ten wrestling champs. Maybe it's not. Oh no, we have multiple New Year's Six bowl wins. That's what it was.
Okay.
Like the 70s. That's what it was. We have like big, like we were at one point kind of like the Mountain Western region powerhouse. Up there with BYU.
I'll never the FUM song. Don't send my boy to Brigham Young. I'd rather see him dead. Send him to our Aggies. 'Tis better than Cornell. Before I'd see him in Boulder, I'd see my son in hell. Anyway, CSU, the stalwart Ram team going up to Seattle, 22.5-point dog. We're going to cover that. I don't know how good Washington is, but yeah, CSU had a good year last year. I hope we covered the spread. That's what I'm hoping for. That stadium looks dope as fuck though. The Husky Stadium right there on the waterfront. That's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
I got no big expectations for CSU. It makes it better when they're kind of good, like last year. Like they weren't. I wouldn't say they were good, but they had a good season. But teams like CSU, Wyoming, the less expectations you have, the better of a season you have.
That's very true.
What's Washington supposed to be like?
I think they're kind of one of those teams that you should maybe not put a bunch of eggs in that basket, but you might be surprised.
I feel like we're either going to get blown out or like a possible upset. I don't think they win, but like they make it a kind of a heartbreaker for Washington, or they lose by 40. That I don't think there's any in between. I don't think they lose by 2 scores. I think they get blown all the way out, or they lose by a field goal or something like that. I don't see them pulling off the win, but if they do, I'm gonna go burn down a homeless encampment in Seattle. So, all right, I need to take a leak, but let's come back and do a quick little wrap up on baseball.
All right.
Maybe touch on the NFL a little bit.
A little bit.
Oh, Tigers and the A's tied up at 6, bottom of the 10th. Jacob Wilson's at bat, just walked. Runners on first and second, no outs.
Ooh.
This is to take the series from the Tigers, the AL leading Tigers.
Yeah, I need that actually, please. I need the A's to win this.
Dude, A's are playing spoiler. We're 2 games back. Well, if we win tonight, if they win this tonight, we'll be a game back of the Angels for 4th place in the AL West. And that's going to be a successful season if they can finish in 4th place. That fucker almost broke his finger on attempting a bunt. All right, let me pull up the standings. I will say in the NL East, the Mets are trying to make it interesting again, which I love. That's been one of the funnest division races to watch all year, because the Mets and the Phillies have seemed to be just back and forth, like within the, like every time we do a new episode, just like is it Mets or Phillies in first place in the East. But the Mets started to kind of pull away, and but we had they're playing each other right now. Leads at 5, but the Mets picked up the first 2 of that series, so gaining ground. Let's see. We'll start with the AL West or AL East. Blue Jays 4 games up on the Red Sox, 4.5 on the Yankees. The Yankees are starting to hit a little bit. They're starting to win some games. Do they got the gas in the tank to overtake the Red Sox? I think so. I mean, they're only.
I honestly,
they're essentially tied, but I like Boston's starting rotation right now with Crochet, Giolito, and Bayo.
Brian Bayo has really figured it out towards the tail end of this year. He's always had the stuff, but I think he's really kind of figured out his location. He's kind of figured out how he pitches, and I love watching it.
Red Sox have been good. They're 6-4 in their last 10. Blue Jays are starting to slump a little bit. They're 5-5 over their last 10. They still got a 4-game lead, and that's still a really good ball club. Bo Bichette is just he's like playing throwback baseball with the way he's hitting. Just like I think he's hitting over 300 right now.
He's come alive this season as well.
Yeah, like he was pretty much non-existent last year. But Vladdy Guerrero's doing his thing. Like he's doing his thing. He hits really well. Judge, where's he at in the home run race? It's like he's fell off considerably. He had a couple weeks off with injury. I really want the Yankees to make the playoffs and then lose in the wild card round. What's that?
Judge is 10 behind. He's got 40. Okay.
Yeah, so he's
effectively out of it. He's behind Eugenio Suarez.
Yeah, so like there's a shot that he hits 50, but he's not gonna challenge for the home run lead, I wouldn't think, unless I mean crazier things have happened, but he'd have to really catch fire. The Rays, man, they fell off hard. They were within a half game of the division not very long ago, like just like a week or two before the All-Star break, and now they're 12.5 back. They're done, and they did kind of a typical Rays thing where they didn't sell off, but they did a buy sell type deal at the deadline. Orioles are pretty salty right now, but they're not doing anything. Tigers, they're 7-3 over their last 10, but they slumped really hard there for a while. They're on the verge of losing a series to the A's. They're still 10 games up on the Royals, so I don't see the Royals cutting into that division lead too much.
No, we're not going to cut into the division lead, but I think we do still have somewhat of a chance at the wild card.
You're only 3 games back.
Yeah. So I think of all the teams I think the Royals still have the best chance at the wild card.
I think so too.
Outside of the teams that are already in.
Yeah.
Because
I think the Royals have the best chance of knocking somebody out of a wild card spot. I was kind of buying Cleveland there for a minute after the trade deadline, because they went on a little bit of a run. But
yeah, and they fell off.
I think they lost like 10 in a row or some shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they haven't been good. They're basically done. Twins or whatever, White Sox, whatever. Yeah, so I think the Tigers, they're a game up on the Blue Jays for the best record in the American League. There we go. Walked it off. A's win. Yeah, I think the Royals have the best chance of knocking somebody out of the wild card and and squeaking in. I don't know what they do if they get in. Lugo and Cameron's a pretty decent 1-2, but they ain't got a whole lot after that. In the West, Astros are a game and a half up on the Mariners. The Mariners win tonight. It's 7. Yeah, they lost tonight. So San Diego beat the Mariners 7-6. But the Rockies were beating the shit out of the ass. Yeah, Rockies won 6-1.
6-1.
So that stays at 1.5 in the West. The Rangers won today. They're 6 back of the division, 4.5 of the wild card. Evaldi's essentially out for the year. Yeah, I think that hurts for the Rangers because it was their pitching staff that just dragging them into the spot they are right now, and Evaldi was right at the like DeGrom's been really good this year, but Evaldi's been elite, and him going down that's rough. That's rough. There's a chance the A's catch the Rangers at this point, but so Angels and the A's, Angels or whatever, A's are fun. I said I think they catch the Angels. I really do. Maybe they catch the Rangers. Probably not, but I bet they narrow that gap a little bit. Phillies Mets. What do you think about this race?
I think the Mets have lost it. Honestly,
I kind of do too.
I don't think the Mets have what it takes to kind of get back into. They're going to be sitting in the wild card pretty, I think. Well, no. I think that they are maybe a little. They should be a little scared of.
They're
Reds.
They're even in the wild card. So they got a wild card spot. Let's see where they at on the within that wild card picture. They're in that last spot with the Reds 3.5 back.
That's why I'm thinking they should be scared of the Reds.
The Reds have been playing pretty decent ball here lately. They're 4-6 over their last 10, but they've had some close games. They're at the Dodgers right now. And the Dodgers are really kind of catching their stride. Their pitching staff is still kind of whatever. Kershaw is having a little bit of a renaissance. But they're like a better version of the A's right now. The pitching is as a fucking mess, but that lineup's just nasty. They can just win by out slugging you. I think you're right about the Mets. Like they're feisty against the Phillies in this series, which is good. I mean, that's the division rival. You're 5 games back, so you got some work to do. But I don't know. Like Kodai Senga at the beginning of the year was almost unhittable, and he's came back down to earth. He's still good. Don't get me wrong, but he doesn't have the swing and miss like he had early in the season. And Sanchez, Wheeler, Suarez, Luzardo. I like the Phillies starting rotation better. Their big guys are performing right now. So, between Trey Turner, Schwarber, and Harper, they're getting it done, and the Mets are just kind of treading water right now, and they really need to be. They got to be catching another gear because we're 3 days out from September or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they need to, like, if they're gonna catch a gear, like, now's the time. And I don't know that they do. I feel like the Phillies they haven't clinched it, obviously, but I think they're I don't see him losing the lead at this point. Brewers, best team in baseball right now. Still,
I think that'll stay that way.
I think so too. What they do in the playoffs, who fucking knows? But I don't see the Cubs catching them. They're 6.5 games back. The Reds are not gonna catch the Cubs either, I don't think. They're 8.5 back. Yeah, the Reds are out of the division picture. I won't say the Brewers have it sewed up, but I don't see them slowing down. They're 5-5 out of their last 10. They're still 6 up on the Cubs. So, yeah, the Reds though, I really hope they make a push. They're playing pretty decent ball. They got a losing record. I like Ellie De La Cruz. I'm a big Andujar fan coming over from the A's. I like that pitching staff. If they get in, they're going to be a problem for somebody. I don't see him making a deep run, but they'll make a really interesting series just with that pitching staff. And the offense it's not loaded, but they do have some guys. And and if Ellie gets hot, watch out. That big gangly fast motherfucker makes shit happen when he's on the base path. All right, Dodgers Padres. I want the Padres to make a run so bad.
I need it. Honestly, I think it's really what this country needs is
this is kind of the race we were looking at from the get-go, was like, can the Padres keep pace? And honestly, I expected them to be well behind the Dodgers at this point, but classic Dodgers being, they've got a starting rotation and a half on the IL, and not just any starting rotation, but like a really good starting rotation. And but there's still a game up on the Padres. Here lately, it's been seesawing back and forth. Padres got swept at the Dodgers. Then they took 2 out of 3 at home against the Dodgers. I kind of think the Padres maybe can pull it out. It's going to come down to the very end, but the Padres pushed. They went all in on this season. They emptied the prospect pool, and they went out and got guys. They went out and got Miller. They got Laureano and O'Hearns from Baltimore. I think like they're playing for keeps this year, and I hope it pays off. I really do. I would love to see the Dodgers and their gazillion-dollar salary knocked off a pedestal a little bit. And let's see the Padres win the division. I want to see it. I want to see it. On the back end of that division, the Diamondbacks still look pretty good. Like that AAA system. When we went and watched the A's and play the D-backs in Sacramento, we saw 3 or 4 of those guys that we've been watching in Reno for a while now, showing up and playing pretty well. Like that's they D-backs and the A's are in a very similar position right now, where they got a lot of talent, and they're clearly not going anywhere this year. So just developing talent, and it's working out for them. Like they're playing pretty good ball. They're not winning a ton, but they're playing okay. Like they went out and robbed a couple games from good teams, and I don't know. They don't look near as hopeless as it was looking at around the trade deadline. Like it looked pretty miserable in Arizona, but now that they're just kind of playing footloose and fancy free, they're all right. They look the future looks okay.
Yeah, it really does.
The Giants, however, similar, almost identical record, but they got Verlander on the staff still. I mean that guy's
he's got to be on something. He is having an insane season, and that's not even counting the fact that he's over 40.
Yeah. Everything looks pretty good from Verlander except for the win-loss record of that poor fucker. He can't buy a win to save his life. But I feel like the Diamondbacks are in a better position going forward than the Giants almost. The Giants got a better definitely got a better pitching situation at the moment, but we'll see how that goes. And then I don't know. D-backs they do good in their farm system, so we'll see. Any other big takeaways on the baseball season at this point?
Honestly, I love the fact that the Royals are in it. I love the fact that the A's are still able to play spoiler. I love the fact that the Rockies are beating the Astros because fuck the Astros.
Fuck the Astros.
And I'm kind of excited for this postseason. And honestly, it still remains more exciting and more fun to watch than football. And that's saying a lot.
I agree.
And that's not a knock on baseball, but normally, football season rolls around and, baseball is like, oh, okay. But right now I'm really feeling like baseball is still the sport to be paying attention to.
Yeah, I think so. And the crazy thing is, outside of the National League West and the two West divisions are still very much up for grabs between the top two teams. The others, there's a little bit of distance. The AL East, it's a 4-game lead, 10 games in the AL Central. You got 5 in the NL East, 6.5 in the NL Central. But you got the West divisions. The NL's separated by a game, and the AL West is a game and a half. Those are going to be some interesting races coming down the stretch, and you got way more sex appeal on the LA San Diego front, but then you got the big dumper going for history. And so you got some really, really good you got 2 really good division races, but then the wild card is kind of just, it really is up for grabs. There's this could all, looking at it right now, the season ended today would have Detroit with the number 1 overall seed in the AL, the Blue Jays winning the East and the Astros in the West, with Boston, the Yankees, and the Mariners taking the 3 wild cards. In the NL, you got the Brewers with the number 1 overall seed, the Phillies winning the East, and the Dodgers winning the West, with the Cubs, Padres, and Mets in, honestly, for big market teams, you're crushing in the National League. Outside of the Brewers, you got Phillies, you got Philadelphia, LA, Chicago, San Diego, and New York. You got the biggest markets there, and then you got the outlier with Milwaukee. But it's a big Midwest team. They got a pretty widespread fan base across the Midwest. So you gotta, as far as from a baseball marketing standpoint, those are all intriguing matchups, and with a lot of eyeballs to grab there. And then the AL, you got Detroit, Toronto's whatever. Houston's a huge market. Boston, New York, and then Seattle, while itself not a huge market, big Northwest fan base. So it's all very intriguing, but you got the Royals, Rangers, and the Guardians aren't gonna do shit. Royals 3 games back in the AL. You got the Reds 3.5 games back in the NL. I don't see the Cardinals making much of a push. So yeah, I think on the teams on the outside looking in, still making a push, you got the Reds and the Royals. So yeah, it's intriguing baseball.
Yes.
All right, quickly to wrap it all up, we'll touch on the NFL very briefly because I haven't spent hardly any time.
I feel like we still have time before that starts, right?
Not that much because
We still have a week. We still have like we can do predictions and everything when y'all are live, but
yeah, no, I'm just quickly. I think the Broncos are going to be a problem this year.
Yeah, we are.
I think, and it's good. It's good to see. It's been a minute in Denver since the Broncos been good. Outside of that, it's kind of a cast of the usual characters in the NFL. So, yeah, we can hold off on the rest of that till a later time. But
Broncos are going to run it. Bo Nix is going to throw more footballs over the mountains. And
I think the Broncos win the West this year.
I think so too.
I really do.
I think Patrick gets arrested for being a devil worshipping witch, and the Broncos are going to take it.
Taylor Swift's going to go full Bridezilla and just ruin the Chiefs' season. That's what I'm hoping for.
Oh, I would love that. I no hate to Taylor Swift, but please distract Travis Kelce. I want him thinking about colors for the wedding instead of thinking about catching footballs.
Yeah, I agree. I don't hate Taylor Swift. I just don't get the stardom.
I think it has a lot to do with when she got famous. I think when I was in like second grade is when she really took off as a teenager. And so it kind of became like songs of people's childhoods. And then her breakups coincided with people's pubescent milestones. And so instead of it, being, oh, this is just a really, sad love like breakup song, it's hormones. And I'm sad and miserable. And now this person I'm forever obsessed with because I've created a parasocial relationship with someone who will never, ever talk to me in real life. And
then you become a Dallas Cowboys fan.
Yeah. And it's the pipeline. It's the Dallas Cowboys fan pipeline.
Taylor Swift, Dallas
Cowboys fan pipeline.
Fucking Jacob Wilson is he's been wearing a Nick Kurtz Big Amish t-shirt in his interviews the last couple of days, and I fucking love it. That is the best. It's the best nickname outside of Big Dumper in baseball right now is Big Amish. And yeah, y'all watch out for the A's. I know they're probably going to trade off all these guys at some point, but
I hope it's after they make a couple playoff runs. I really think if they trade them all off,
I hope the core of it. I hope the core of them make it to Vegas and where they're in a better situation where they can actually make some money. Where it was not like they literally. I know the dude's a billionaire, but you don't become a billionaire and maintain a billionaire by continue to lose money on a franchise. So the situation in Oakland made it impossible for him to, and I'm not defending the guy, but I will say this situation that he was in Oakland was untenable. And he's not the only one that said that. In fact, all the other major sports franchises said so that were in that city. But coming to Nevada,
all left, and I'm no billionaire defender, but I will understand the decision to move a team from the team standpoint when the city is basically forcing your hand and forcing you to eat money every year because they're not doing their part.
Because they feel entitled to have a professional sports franchise, and at the end of the day, you're not. You're not. There's only so many people that can afford to operate one of those franchises, and to have them in your city means big money for your city. So yeah, it's you don't have to bend over backwards to please them, but you should try to please them at some point because you want them to stick around and continue to make money for your fucking city. It's crazy.
I think Denver's an excellent example of a market that could have suffered and could have fallen apart, but didn't, because Denver actively made the choices to ensure. I mean, with the Rockies could have folded a long time ago before they got this bad. They could have folded a long time ago, but Denver's like, no, we're going to make sure that this shit, like, we want a team here. We want to be able to support y'all. We want to be able to say we have a team. So how can we make sure that you guys don't go belly up?
Yeah. I'm just I'm intrigued by this little moment in baseball history, because like the A's are the most traveling franchise in baseball history. They started in Philly, went to Kansas City, then to Oakland. Now they're in Sacramento and will be in Vegas. And for all the people that said they would never move to Vegas, well, they're pouring concrete right now. So they're going to Vegas. Like that's all but done. So there's this brief little window where you have a major league franchise without a home. I mean, they have a home, but they don't claim it. And it's happens to be the closest major league franchise to my situation. So everything fell into perfectly for me to become an A's fan, and it's been really fun to watch them this year. And with the roster they've got going forward, they would be retarded not to try to keep it together at least for the first couple of years in Vegas, because I think they could really make a run. So all that being said, baseball is better than ever right now. College football is back, and the NFL is only a week away. So we're in like peak sports season right now, and it's kind of awesome.
It's exciting. We're gonna see some really awesome shit happen.
I think so. So all right. Well, we'll have a live episode or in-person episode from Seattle, and then we'll be back week after next for our normal updates. So thanks everybody for tuning in. Make sure you go check out all the social media stuff. Burning Daylight Sports, at Burning Daylight Sports. That's Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, all that stuff, TikTok. And we'll see ya around, and move your ass. We're Burning Daylight.